Beauty calls and gives no warning. Shadows rise and wander on the day. In the twilight, in the quiet.
My wife passed over, it'll be 3 years in this next Thursday. And she wrote poems, she did a lot of things. And she wrote one poem that seems to have to do with this kind of weather we're having, or the time of the year. And she was a dancer, so this isn't my poem, this is her poem. And it's called Mama Squash. Sprawling shamelessly in midday sun, sheltered by meandering vines, bulbous, curvaceous Mama Squash. Dressed in diverse moods, emerald snakeskin, tawny smooth sensuality, blazing orange protuberance, pregnant with autumn's harvest. Dancing to honor Mama Squash, my hips flow, navigate hairpin curves, surprising bulges, flex, bend, adapt endlessly like God's putty, expressing freedom, unique essence, sweet odors, soothing, snug taste, Mama Squash's gift. Like a rainbow, hug us on frosty eves with mother's love. Thank you.
My piece for today is creation. In the beginning, there was music in the cosmos. Then, in a celestial celebration, the notes created humans so they could enjoy the music and bestowed upon them the greatest of all gifts, the power of creative expression. The artist is born. This is no ordinary power, cradling heartstrings and feelings of sometimes displaced emotional spaces and places that maybe we'd rather leave alone. When the artist feels the power, I mean really feels the power, all universal and invincible, a familiar dance of sparkling symbolism. What I'm trying to say here is, it's the holy and moly, the good and golly Miss Molly. It's a download, a ringtone, an MP3, an album or an old CD. The blues Major Tom and rapper girl Joe are a quick little ditty from a Broadway show. It's that song buzzing round and round in your head, a jingle jangle melody, and everything from your MTV. It's the hip and the hippie, the flapper and the rapper, the barroom, the bedroom, and of course the morning after. It's the soul of soul that makes you crave that move and that ooh when you find your groove. Oh, it's problematic, emphatic, and full of innuendo, iconic, moronic with blistering bravado. Those parables and prophets of mystical flight, for these are the things that go bump in the night, of sonnets and allegory and psalms that don't rhyme, of metaphor and imagery, in verse and sublime. Because everybody rocks and everybody rolls and everyone's got a story to tell. And in this day, this modern day, poetry and music tell that story oh so well. So sing us a song, or orate loud and strong, or peacefully as you drift off to sleep. Back to that day when your giggles giggled and your riddles riddled, or tears rolled down your face. Tucked away not for long, brought back into song. These memories we shall forever keep. Thank you.
I'm a child of the Vietnam era. We know there is no such thing as a really good war, but I've really found in the decades since that conflict morphed into other conflicts, that the soldiers get left behind. Nobody pays attention to them. So this poem is called "There Are No Former Marines," said Jim. Apple-cheeked Wisconsin son, purveyor of the norm, he bowed to rules respectfully, No jiving, high-fiving Semper Fi for him. Flag rampant on a summer's breeze, white ripples pure as his heart, red as that heart's blood, framing a field of blue like his eyes filled with stars. Flag cherished first with youthful fervor, later to be died for. Once planted like seeds from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Vietnam, Kuwait, Iraq, and now Afghanistan. By all the strongest, the bravest, those most in love with their legend. Marines are always present, sir, though their service days are over. Belt lines slipping south of waist, hairlines receding along with memory. Comrades encountered at reunions failed to match their photographs of the young, tall, toughened bodies fit to kill. Mourning its price, we parade your victory. Grieving your diminished ranks, we celebrate your heroism. Willing fodder in the front lines, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. On land and sea and air, this nation bristles confidently, safe inside its coral reef, the jagged shells of old marine animals. Thank you.
So it is. It's fairly amazing to stand here with this book. Long, long, long in the making, for whom Cheryl and other people here were important help. And I am reading from the book tomorrow at Touchstone School, a school where I taught for many years in Grafton. Rumor has it that we're going to do some writing together, but I don't want that to scare people away. Short poem. This is called Moon Tea. I think it was written in this time of year because I'm always tired, aren't you? Like tired. Every horizontal surface looks like a really good place to lie down, right? But so this poem happens in that moment of, having worked with the kids all day, grateful to have done that, but exhausted and still needing to get home. Moon tea. It is the sky I drink. In a dark car, before driving, to keep myself awake for getting home. I pour tea from a small thermos into a small cup. And its reflected sky, whitened by a rising moon, that rises up to greet me as I pour, as the cup fills. Thank you.
This was inspired in part by Patrick's reading. It involves a little bit of music, classical music, and also involves immigration, some concepts. And so it's called Marlborough, Summer, 1968. Has an epigraph. Life has gone by as if I never lived. Anton Chekhov, The Cherry Orchard. One of the Casals summers, a sizzling cicada year, my mother started a pop-up art gallery in an old barn in Marlborough. Before the internet, before the gas crisis, back when long-distance calling cost something, she put it together, rented an old farmhouse for us, a long, white, added-to thing with a wraparound porch, and shared the rental of the barn down the road with a summer theater company. The gallery centerpiece was a bronze bust of Casals, but most of the rest of the art was my mom's and her friend Anne's. After school ended, we piled into the new gold Plymouth station wagon, the back stuffed to the roof with paintings. For a few weeks before camp started, we spent our days hanging around the gallery during play rehearsals. The importance of being earnest, and soon mouthed lines along with the other actors until we knew all the words, the pauses, the laugh spots, without really understanding the meaning. I hated that sleepaway camp my mother sent us to. I liked the crafts, but not the campers. I molded clay into elephants and embroidered a turtle onto green felt, stuffed it with cotton, and sewed it up. Soon I gathered a fever so fierce my mother had to pick me up and take me home early. 2 days in Vermont, and I ran through the overgrown grass and returned to the barn, the mouthing, the pauses, first the misanthrope, then the cherry orchard. The next week, a new relative, my mother's Tanta Margaret, visited us from Peru, which is where, in 1939, after her ship was permitted to land, she ended up. She brought ponchos made from llama wool and woven bags. Proudly, she told me that when she was young, she and my grandma had servants to cook meals and others to unroll their stockings at night. I didn't wear those kinds of stockings then. Didn't know that when you flee for your life, those are the things you miss.
It's like that. She said, "Remember the grass which grew through the sidewalk's cracks? It's like that." She said, "In the black of panic, you find a path. You become the leaf of grass." She said, "It's true. Illness changes you. But living continues within whatever limits illness sets. Even the feeblest breath still trills an aria of accomplishment. Even the weed sprouting through concrete describes a dance of victory." She said, "Baby, ask yourself this. What if all you had left was a spyglass glimpse of sky, or the pinprick of a jay's reflected flash? What then? What if there were no end to what you might contain? What if multitudes teemed within your veins? Well, it's like that." Thank you.
I write poetry because I like words, and words stick in my mind. Sometimes a sentence I read or a phrase I hear is the start of a poem. This one happens to go back to my childhood when I was taking Catholic catechism, and I had to know the 7 deadly sins. And the nun was very quick to remind us that you don't have to always commit the sin if you are in the near occasion of sin. That's when you have to stand tall and believe that you are not going to sin. So as a result of that, the 7 deadly sins have been a theme. And this is called Shopping at the Deadly 7. As you shop the supermarket of life, avoid aisles of anger. Evade end caps of envy. Shun shelves of sloth. Steer clear of greed. Push aside pride. Glide from gluttony. Detour the deli of desire. Crave not the contents of other carts. As you check out on Judgment Day, your soul, clear of selections from the seven, will pass through the express line to heaven. If the barcode of your life, imprinted with evil selections, slides over the celestial scanner, producing a tape of transgressions exceeding your line of good choices, go to the service desk of purgatory or the parking lot of hell. Thank you.
My poem is Surviving November, and it's 30 lines, like November. Oh, clever she is. Surviving November. One November, this one, carefully set 2 white plates on the table. Watch 3 windows fill with steam. Keep 4 doors open. Climb 5 stairs to obsession. Throw 6 castanets on the bed. Turn off 7 lights. Then wait for the scent of 8 roses to touch you. Remember your 9 birthdays together. Hope for 10 more orange sunrises. Let 11 jeering blue jays distract you, while 12 streets away, you know 13 women are weeping, while 14 men curse the frigid night. But you have 15 days of camouflage left, with 16 minutes of yes and 17 minutes of no. No. Notice how 18 shades of shadow remind you of secrets 19 people told you when you were 20 years old, not yet 21, but branded with wisdom. Remember 22? It will always be November, when 23 students and you looked at a map and 24 states grew pale with the news, while 25 blushed deeply and another churned black. Return to today and see how 26 sumacs fluffed up their berries to 27 starlings swooping low in a cloud. You have 28 minutes left and no remorse, so examine 29 photographs from 30 Novembers and feel the cold of their skins. Thank you.
This is my own song. It's one of my newest ones. It's called This Bridge. Bridges are interesting for themselves because they're engineering marvels and often beautiful sculpture. Also, they're interesting because when we're on them, we're coming from somewhere, going to somewhere else. And although we often don't notice it, they're also interesting for what they go over. So, this bridge. This bridge passes over what once was my hometown. Homes full of hope and laughter, no longer to be found, no longer to be found. This bridge built by others, highway for the rich, grand homes one to another, over us, beneath their bridge, over us, beneath their bridge. Long ago, from these bottoms, strong men of amber hue marched up to work the factories for men, in polished shoes for men, in polished shoes. This gray granite headstone, my pa lies here, worn boots right there with him. My ma put them there, my ma put them there. This bridge passes over what once was my hometown, homes full of hope and laughter, no longer to be found. Farewell, my hometown. Thank you very much.
I have my book of poetry about liberty. What I'm going to read today is titled, Can a Mockingbird Mimic an Owl? A stranger arrived at the town meeting, sporting a clean white featherless fedora over a venerable black trench coat, began regaling us with his queries. Is graffiti the honest-to-God art of democracy? Is a sweatsuit the orthodox garb of equality? Is Lagos the muse for its spiralous architecture? Is American Idol, then, its pinnacle? Is voting the sole decider of excellence? Is New Age energy doomed to be ugly? Is antisocial prudent in a dystopian society? Does the head bow down to the feet? Do the feet kick the head down the street? Does the head enjoy the roll? Does it feel at one with the curb? Does the gutter attract or repel? Does enlightenment reside in a golf ball? Why did we drop that second bomb? Can a mockingbird mimic an owl? Is Bud Light as good as it gets? Is daycare an even better deal? Is old age the most prized merit badge? Did a treadmill take you there? Do selfies prove life is good? Do cops dream of walking a beat? Do they really prefer shooting a radar gun? Must the senator move to Washington? Must the mayor move from camera to camera? Must the judge surrender his humility? Must the victim surrender his naivete? Must the junkyard dog roll over? Who among us merits no leash? Who denies dabbling in graffiti? At this point, the stranger took his leave, and a motion was made to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
On Monday, I have a routine follow-up appointment with my oncologist, having been diagnosed with cancer in fall of 2013. And I'm going to read this poem to commemorate that auspicious occasion. It's called Fall After All. Technically, they were sick days, but imagine the semester begins, Indian summer, and you're still futzing around in short sleeves, having coffee on the patio as the sun glistens over the lake,
where you'll walk the dog later and go for a swim because the water's still summer warm and you're not in rush hour worrying you left the morning handouts on the dining room table, and we'll have to wing it in front of the new batch of students who already dislike you, grumble about your syllabus of relentless assignments, and it's past add drop, so they're stuck with you, relieved you messed up or are out sick, given the way you walk around the room, write on the board and read aloud while calling on random people, so they have to half listen, which requires more effort than they're willing to give. Even though you spent your whole summer preparing coursework, but when the clock nears the hour that class ends, they're already packed up their backpacks and put on coats, even as you quote Shakespeare as if conducting a symphony, though you've lost them, and they file out while you call after them, "Don't forget the reading, see you Thursday, have a nice day," and they'll come back Thursday to complain they didn't get the assignment to the teacher in your place who will have to create his own syllabus as you butter a second scone, add a touch of jam a neighbor made and brought to cheer you because you had your first chemo treatment. And now there's a certain spring in your step, the kind you have on vacation as you head to the lake with your dog and your beach chair and don't have to learn a single name or give feedback on student essays and figure out grades. Only the medicinal taste that feels a bit like burnt toast in tin cans and tingles down to the toes, which are in the water's edge. Ah, this is the life, you think, as you look up from the new novel your friend wrote. I could get used to this.
Sky, it is the season grieves, not you, not I. Oh, we have awakened sweet and had our birth, and that's the end of earth. And we have toiled and smiled and kept the light, and that's the end of night.